Good morning, class. This is Drew Stegall. I am happy that we are coming into spring break. Before we go into spring break, this lecture is very important because it gives you the opportunity to learn about a persuasive speech. I'm telling you about a persuasive speech now, even though it's due on the 11th, because this is the biggest speech that you will give by yourself. It's going to be a 5 to 7 minute speech, and I want you to have tons of time to practice and get your material ready. Okay. So first, let's go over the schedule. Second, we'll go over how to give a persuasive speech. First, the schedule, there's spring break next week, so there will be nothing due next week. However, there is your weekly quiz due from Friday to Sunday night this week. Okay, next week, nothing. Then as soon as we get back on Monday, we're going to do our special occasion speeches. I'm really excited. If you have questions, be sure to instant message me through Brightspace. Okay, then we have another Lego game, and then impromptu speech, and that's going to be a lot of fun. That is one of my favorite speeches to give. And then on April 11th, we're going to start the persuasive speeches. Okay. I do have 2 sections for persuasive speeches because if everyone does 7 minutes, that's going to go way over time. And so that's why I have it split up. However, if everyone does about 5 minutes, we'll have time on the 25th, April 25th, and we'll do a Lego game that day instead. After spring break, the only time we'll have off again, or we won't have class, will be May 18th, or that's April 18th. There will be no class because it's a teacher in service day. And so I hope you enjoy that. Okay, so that gives us basically the future. And so it goes from that persuasive speech or that Lego game day to the group project. And that group project is the last time I will see you. That's the last time I'm coming to text line. Okay, if you have questions, be sure to tell me in class, like after class, or to message me on the Brightspace. So let's go get into a persuasive speech because I want you to have a good month to prepare and get ready. Okay, a persuasive speech is to persuade or convince. Okay, persuasion is trying to change someone's actions or beliefs. Okay, so here's a couple examples of that. You could convince someone to vote Republican or vote Democrat. You could convince someone to come to your school. If you're going to FPC, which you are now, you could try to convince someone to come to FPC. You could try to convince people to not eat carbs or to get off of energy drinks or just to be healthier in general. But here's the thing, though. You're trying to change actions and beliefs. That is the main point of a persuasive speech. So let me go over something with you guys. First, deep down, it comes in layers. We have values. Those values influences our beliefs, and then those beliefs influence is our actions. Okay, so let's just say I valued money, like Jordan Belfort or Gary Vee or whatever you guys see, those really rich people, and they value money. If you value money over valuing law and order, you're going to do whatever it takes to get more money. And then that means your beliefs change. And if you believe so if you value money, then it's going to change your beliefs. And then you believe that as long as you're getting money out of it, it's a good thing. As long as you're getting money out, it's okay to do. And actions, that changes your actions because you're going to do illegal stuff. If you value money more than anything else, it's going to change your belief to where you like, hey, if I'm getting money, I believe this is a good thing. And then it changes your actions to where you might be a little more sketchy. You might not pay your taxes like you're supposed to. Okay, let's see. If you value being healthy, then you're going to believe that drinking energy drinks is not good for you, right? And that changes your actions because you're not going to go out and buy energy drinks. So everyone deep down has some values. They're called intrinsic values. It's that we all want this. So most people want to be healthy. Most people want to not die early. Most people want to live a long, healthy, and happy life. Okay, so most people value health. But some people have a value for energy and getting work done, kind of a work integrity more than their own health. So it is your job to persuade or convince your audience. It's hard to change values, but you could talk in a way that's going to change their beliefs, which then change their actions. So it's like this. Most people want to have a better life, right? And one way you do that is by coming to FPC. So deep down, people want to have a better life for themselves. Some people have a value for more education, but where are they going to do that? That's your job to convince them how they should do that. Kind of you're selling them something. And so you could say, hey, you value an education, but you don't want to get into debt. You don't want to lose all your money, and you want to stay kind of close to home. That's why you should come to FPC. It's in Dalhart, Texas. You could take online classes, and they have tons of scholarships to help you out. Okay, vote Republican. I'm going to skip that one. Let's do why you should do your homework. This is a hard one. You want good grades. You want your parents to be proud of you, right? So if you want to do really good for the midterm and your projects, you need to do your homework, because everyone's got values deep down, and it's really hard to change values. That takes years and years to change values, but beliefs and actions can change through one simple speech. If you could do a really convincing speech, it could cause someone to give up sodas or coffee, because you could say, hey, there's a better way to do that. If you're needing energy, there's tea. If you're needing energy, apples are a great trick. So organization. So we talked about the main point of a persuasive speech is to persuade or convince your audience. You're going to be arguing a little bit. You're going to try to prove your case. Why is FPC better than every school out there? If you're trying to convince someone to go to your church, why is your church better than all the other churches out there? You need to have your outline. We've done that before. Please go check it out. In the point, still only 3 main points. This time, I will require a source. You have to have at least one source for your outline. It can't be Wikipedia, it can't be Google, it has to be scholarly. Now, here's the hack that people did not tell me whenever I was going to school. If you go to Wikipedia, they have a little number beside it. You click the number, brings you to the bottom of the page, and a lot of times in their list of sources, they have really good sources in Wikipedia just at the bottom. So don't ever quote Wikipedia. Don't ever quote, oh, Google told me. Go to the sources, okay? Now, if you're trying, and I get this all the time, if you're trying to get someone to work out, don't have your hook be, have you ever felt lazy? No. Or have you ever wanted to work out but just couldn't know how? You got to be creative. Tell a story, tell a fact, tell it a statistic. It's meant to draw me in. Don't start with a question. Like, be compelling, because if you lose me in the intro, you're not going to get me for your main point. So keep that in mind as you're developing your speech. So when you do a source, as you give a source, you're going to say, I read on this website or in this article that, and then you're going to quote it. Or you could quote it first and then say, I read this here. Or this person says that. If it's a reporter, if it's a journalist, you could say, this person says that. It's just that simple. You don't have to do an APA or MLA. You don't have to do any of that. I just need to know where you got it. Okay. Delivery. Because this is your final speech, I'll be very attentive to how you deliver, okay? You've done fantastic so far with all of your other speeches, but I've written some notes. I need you guys to recheck those notes. So that way, for this last speech, it's going to be phenomenal. 5 to 7 minutes, just practice. You have a month to just practice. So keep practicing. And remember, the goal is you're trying to convince and persuade. So if you don't even know your own facts, if you go to give a fact and you're stumbling and you're mumbling and you're like not really sure, and you have to keep looking at the paper, you're going to lose their heart. Before you give the speeches, it says it right here, I'm going to have a video lecture on persuasion itself, on how to persuade. This is just more of a format. Okay. Be sure to speak with conviction, because this is something that's important to you. You want people to be healthy. You want people to do something, and you have to talk with conviction. If you don't care about what you're talking about, the audience isn't going to care. So speak from the heart in a way that you are trying your best to sell them something. You're going to persuade and convince. Be ethical about it. Remember, you guys are in high school. You're not going to change the world in this high school speech class. Okay, so be ethical. A lot of people choose this to be as edgy as possible, and you can do that. But also recognize your audience as well. So be ethical. Don't be rude. Don't call people names. We're going to go over logical fallacies here in a couple weeks. And one of the things that people do in order to try to convince someone. So say you're trying to convince someone to vote for Joe Biden over President Trump. Then this happened. Even in the elections, they use this logical fallacy called ad hominem to make fun of the other person. Where Biden fans were like, oh yeah, Trump is a tangerine. Who would trust the orange man and his wig's trying to run away? Or look at his tiny hands. And then, of course, people trying to persuade other people to vote for Trump said, oh yeah, well, Joe Biden can't even walk upstairs right. And he's way too old and he messes up his words. Don't vote for him. And so that's a logical fallacy. So if you're talking, and you're trying to convince me of something, don't name call. Use facts. Argue with facts and statistics. And there's that. And finally, time. This is the longest speech you personally have. It's 5 to 7 minutes long. 5 to 7 minutes long. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I can't wait to see you guys after spring break for your special occasion speeches. And I hope you have a good day. Bye.